In our last module, we started to examine collaboration, and we're going to continue that trajectory as we move forward in module number 3. What we're going to focus on in our third module, last time we looked at data and some of those resources that we have to gather information to really analyze what's going out there. Now we're going to put that information into action and determine, based on the populations of focus, what needs to occur to actually impact those outcomes. And as we had spoken about earlier, the fact that making true outcomes in population health are very often very multifaceted, with a great deal of collaboration so that everyone's doing their own role, or every organization is practicing within their own role. But having those common goals, or that shared vision, really makes impact. And just think about having that shared vision, working with others at different areas of focus to work together for a common goal. And the whole principle of population health and some of the fundamentals of population health correlates with leadership practice, and how in leadership practice that we focus on having those that we serve, our staff or our colleagues, work together for a common goal. And the same principle holds true in population health. So think of the concepts of population health actually empowering your leadership practice as well. So I want you to keep that focus as we're building some of these skills, because they translate very well to leadership. So with that being said, we're going to dive into our module, and we're going to start out with thinking about our thinking and thinking upstream. And with collaboration, crisis mitigation just works hand in hand, because again, that's area of focus where we have multiple organizations and businesses and different facets of the community working together to actually mitigate in the situation of all hazards, to mitigate the risk and mitigate the experience of loss and detrimental effects on the community. So we are going to apply some of those concepts as we're working in our forums, in applying some of those communication skills that will not only help you in crisis mitigation and applying upstream thinking in crisis mitigation, but also help you as you're developing some of those skills in communication and leadership as well. And with that being said, again, examining the different levels of impact is extremely important, and this provides a really nice context. This is the Frieden model, and this provides that context of the greater population health impact are attributed to some of those broader factors in the experience of health, whether it be socioeconomic factors or changing environments, those types of things. And when we're looking at some of where we tend to practice, very often we're very focused on counseling and education. When we're working individually, we're teasing things back and examining some of those areas that would have a broader impact at that population level, that is actually less individual effort is needed at that point, but it does set the stage for folks to make healthier choices. And to a certain degree, the goal is to make healthier choices the easiest choices. And we all know that that is not necessarily the truth at this point. So again, these are all factors to consider as you're moving forward with your population health practice and your leadership practice as well. So in our readings, we are going to examine the evidence at population health levels. We're also going to dive into the concepts of program design and development, as well as examining the practice, evaluating the practice at population health levels. So we're going to take the next pieces of the puzzle as we're putting together our population focused design project. So the readings are really putting what you did in your epidemiological risk assessment into action and actionable items to move forward to impact population health. And just remember that the whole focus for the design project is to develop a project that is very feasible and meaningful that could be implemented in your practice. And we have had students who have implemented their design projects after the course and have had extremely beneficial results because of it. So make this real and relevant to your practice. And just remember, there's all sorts of populations, diving back to the epidemiological risk assessment. Nurses are a population as well. And if, as a leader, focusing on the overall well-being of nurses is a very valuable area of focus. And very often it's an area of focus that an organization will really buy into to elevate the outcomes for their particular staff. And it doesn't need to be just nurses. It can be healthcare providers, or it can be those who function within a particular organization, such as a workplace wellness program. So just think outside of the box. We always think of maybe just patients, but we need to think about how the impact of the health and wellness of those who provide services really does impact outcomes in areas of practice. So keep those types of things in mind. And with that being said, the Institute for Healthcare Improvement has a framework for improving joy in work. And we know that those who are engaged are in their work do tend to promote better outcomes for those that they serve as far as patients or clients. So again, focusing on those who provide the services is a real upstream thinking way to impact the outcomes within an organization. So I strongly suggest you take a look at the information from the Institute for Healthcare Improvement. Here's our resources folder. So again, know that there are a multitude of resources available here for you to use, and some of the toolboxes and the information here will be invaluable to you as you're examining opportunities for your population-focused design project. And know that there are evidence-based practices embedded within healthy people and the CDC. There's also information out there through SAMHSA. So know where to look for some of those impactful evidence-based practices that are out there in population health. For our first forum within module number 3, the focus is on collaboration. And again, there are a multitude of resources here available to you, and we are really focusing on sharing information that you find with your cohorts. So you are going to take a look at some of the resources, and you're going to choose one that's most appropriate for you and share some information that will be helpful to your colleagues. And then we're also going to dive into examining some of those resources that may or may not be typical partners when we're examining health. So think outside the box when you start contemplating about who would be helpful in really examining some of those multifaceted approaches to impact population health. And then in our second forum for our module number 3, we are going to focus on communications for all hazards, and you are going to develop your very own public service announcement. And again, those who are leaders are those who are called on when it's time to submit those public service announcements. So there's some principles that you will apply in this particular forum that will help you not only for all hazards preparedness and communications, but also in scripting some of the messages that you need to script and making those messages very effective in your leadership practice as well.